The world is always watching. Every nation looks at another, sometimes with respect, sometimes with doubt, and often with fear of what the future holds. But when a powerful voice rises, when a nation speaks not with arrogance but with clarity, with discipline, with conviction, suddenly the balance shifts. The message I'm about to share is not just about politics or power. It's about growth, it's about struggle, it's about rising when no one thought you could. It's about showing the world that true strength does not always roar. Sometimes it arrives quietly, but it shakes the ground beneath those who never expected it. And that is exactly what this message represents, the message America never expected. Discipline is the foundation upon which every great achievement is built. Without discipline, talent is wasted, resources are squandered, and potential remains only a dream. The truth that many people overlook is that nations, just like individuals, rise or fall not because of chance, but because of their discipline. And that is exactly the message America never expected. That a nation once underestimated could rise so high, not because of luck, not because of shortcuts, but because of an unshakable commitment to discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not the kind of thing you celebrate with fireworks or headlines. It is quiet, it is steady, and it is relentless. Day after day, year after year, discipline creates progress so powerful that the world has no choice but to notice. Think of how muscles are built. You do not lift weights once and expect to transform. You do not train for a week and expect greatness. It is the daily repetition, the constant effort, the refusal to quit that builds strength. The same applies to nations. America never expected that another country would adopt that same principle at a national level, focusing on education, technology, innovation, and self-reliance with the kind of discipline that refuses to stop, even when the world doubts you. That is why discipline shocks people, because it is slow and invisible in the beginning, but one day the results stand so tall that no one can deny them. Discipline means showing up even when you don't feel like it. For a student, it means studying when others are distracted. For a worker, it means giving your best effort even when no one is watching. For a nation, it means building schools before stadiums, research centers before monuments, and industries before luxuries. That kind of long-term vision requires discipline, and discipline requires sacrifice. America never expected others to be willing to sacrifice comfort today for greatness tomorrow. They thought comfort would weaken us. They thought distractions would divide us, but discipline proved them wrong. And let me tell you something, discipline is not a punishment, it is a path to freedom. When you are disciplined, you are not controlled by your impulses. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You become the master of your own destiny. Nations that practice discipline gain the freedom to stand tall, to make decisions independently, to reject domination from anyone. That is why discipline is feared. It creates independence. And independence creates power. America never expected that quiet classrooms filled with determined students could be more powerful than armies. They never expected that small factories filled with workers disciplined in their craft could grow into industries that would challenge the strongest economies. They never expected that silent sacrifice, day after day, could build a strength louder than any speech. But that is what discipline does. It sneaks up on those who underestimate it. It builds strength brick by brick until one day the world realizes a new force has risen. So what is the lesson? The lesson is that greatness does not happen by accident. It does not happen because someone gives it to you. It is earned through discipline. Discipline is the greatest equalizer in history. You can be poor, you can start with nothing, you can face doubt from every direction, but if you are disciplined, you will rise. The same rule applies to people, to leaders, and to nations. Discipline turns dreams into reality. It turns weakness into strength. It turns underdogs into champions. And that is exactly why the message shocked America, because they never expected that discipline practiced silently would create a power too great to ignore. Knowledge is the greatest weapon humanity has ever created. It cannot be destroyed by fire, it cannot be silenced by armies, and it cannot be stolen once it has taken root in the mind. Unlike wealth, unlike power, unlike physical strength, knowledge grows the more it is shared. And this is the message America never expected, that true power is no longer held in a single nation, locked inside their universities, their laboratories, or their institutions. Knowledge has spread across the world, and those who hunger for it, who dedicate themselves to learning it, are rewriting history. America always believed that dominance came from military might or economic control, but what they underestimated was the unstoppable force of education, innovation, and intellectual courage. Knowledge is the real power because it transforms weakness into strength without a single shot being fired. A farmer who learns new techniques can feed a village. A child who studies science can grow into a leader who changes industries. A nation that invests in education creates an army of thinkers, dreamers, and builders who can achieve what no weapon ever could. That is the message that caught the world by surprise. Nations once considered poor or underdeveloped suddenly began producing world-class engineers, doctors, scientists, and entrepreneurs. The world looked at them with doubt, but discipline in learning turned those doubts into respect, and respect into fear. You see, weapons may intimidate, but knowledge liberates. Armies can conquer land, but knowledge conquers time itself. When a nation invests in knowledge, it is not just preparing for today, it is preparing for the next century. America never expected that knowledge would become the equalizer, that students studying in small villages in humble schools would rise to challenge their brightest minds. They never expected the quiet revolution of education because it does not make noise. But knowledge, once planted, grows into movements, industries, and innovations that cannot be stopped. Think about history. Every great empire, every powerful nation that has ever risen, did so not just because of its soldiers, but because of its thinkers. It was philosophy, mathematics, architecture, and science that built the foundations of civilizations. When those nations stopped learning, when they grew arrogant and comfortable, they began to fall. Knowledge is the heartbeat of progress, and progress never sleeps. That is why this message shocks those who thought they could hold on to power forever. The torch of knowledge passes on, and those who are hungry enough to chase it, to study it, to master it, are the ones who take the lead. But knowledge alone is not enough. It requires the courage to apply it. Many people know what to do, but few are disciplined enough to do it. A nation rises not just because it has knowledge, but because it has the willpower to turn that knowledge into action. And that is what America never expected, that others would not only learn but also execute with boldness, with confidence, and with a vision for the future. The truth is simple. The most powerful nations of tomorrow are not those with the biggest armies, but those with the biggest classrooms. Not those with the tallest skyscrapers, but those with the strongest minds. Knowledge creates innovation, innovation creates opportunity, and opportunity creates independence. That independence is the true fear of those who once controlled the world, because once a people become self-reliant through knowledge, they cannot be enslaved, they cannot be manipulated, and they cannot be ignored. So let this be the lesson. Knowledge is not just information, it is transformation. It is the spark that lights revolutions, the seed that grows into progress, and the power that no enemy can defeat. America never expected that knowledge would shift the balance of power. They underestimated the strength of the human mind, the hunger to learn, the determination to grow. But now the message is clear. Knowledge is the real power, and those who embrace it will own the future. Resilience is the ability to bend without breaking, to fall but to rise again stronger, to be struck down and yet keep moving forward. It is not given. It is forged in the fire of struggle, in the storms of life, and in the moments when everything seems lost. This is the message America never expected, that the greatest strength of a nation or of a people does not come from comfort or ease, but from hardship, from trials, and from enduring pain with unshakable determination. When you face adversity, you are given a choice. You either surrender or you fight. Those who fight, those who endure, those who never give up. They build resilience, and resilience transforms weakness into strength. The nations that were once written off, that were once called weak, poor, or dependent, were actually being trained by history itself. Every challenge was a lesson, every setback was a teacher, every injustice was fuel. And over time, those struggles became the foundation of resilience. America never expected that those who once suffered would rise because they misunderstood the power of pain. Pain is not the end, pain is the beginning. Pain carves away weakness and leaves behind strength. When you learn to endure, you learn to outlast, and when you can outlast, you eventually overcome. Resilience is more powerful than any weapon because it cannot be taken away. You can destroy buildings, you can burn down cities, you can break economies, but you cannot destroy the human spirit when it refuses to be broken. That is why America never expected this message, because they underestimated the strength of nations that have lived through centuries of hardship. They believed that poverty would weaken resolve. They believed that oppression would crush ambition. But the truth is the opposite. Resilience grows in the soil of suffering. The deeper the struggle, the stronger the roots of resilience become. Think of how steel is made. It begins as raw ore, worthless until it is placed into the furnace. It is burned, melted, hammered, and shaped under unbearable heat and pressure. Only then does it become strong. Only then does it become unbreakable. The same is true for people and nations. Resilience is not built in times of comfort. It is built when the odds are against you, when the world doubts you, when every path seems blocked. It is in those moments that resilience is forged. And here is the lesson. Resilience is the greatest advantage of those who have been underestimated. If you are comfortable, you become complacent. If you are privileged, you become careless. But if you are struggling, if you are fighting, if you are clawing your way forward every single day, you become resilient. That resilience makes you unstoppable. America never expected that what they saw as weakness, poverty, challenges, struggles would actually create a strength they could not match, because resilience cannot be bought, it cannot be inherited, it can only be earned. Resilience is also contagious. When one person stands back up after being knocked down, others see it and they rise too. When one nation proves that it will not bow, others gain courage to do the same. Resilience spreads like fire. It inspires, it unites, it transforms, and once it spreads, no force in the world can extinguish it. The truth is simple. Resilience is what keeps you moving when the world tells you to stop. It is what gives you strength when your body is tired, when your mind is doubtful, when your heart is heavy. Resilience whispers, keep going. And when enough people keep going, when a nation keeps going, when a generation keeps going, they reach heights that once seemed impossible. That is the message America never expected. That resilience, born from struggle, has turned weakness into strength, and that strength has created a power no enemy can defeat. Unity is the greatest force humanity has ever known. It is greater than wealth, greater than weapons, greater than fear. When people come together with one vision, one purpose, and one determination, they become unstoppable. This is the message America never expected. That nations once divided, people once separated by language, culture, or belief, could rise together in strength so great that no power on earth could match it. Division is weakness, unity is invincibility. History has shown us again and again that the most powerful civilizations were not built by individuals acting alone, but by millions moving as one. And when unity takes root, it becomes a storm that no one can resist. The truth is, division is easy. It is easy to argue, easy to fight, easy to see differences and forget what connects us. That is why powerful forces have always tried to divide people, because they know a divided people cannot rise. But unity is strength multiplied. Unity means millions of hearts beating as one. It means voices that once spoke in conflict now speak in harmony. It means hands that once pulled in different directions now pull together, lifting a nation higher than anyone thought possible. America never expected that unity could bind people across regions, across struggles, across generations. They underestimated the power of belonging, the power of shared purpose, the power of a people united. Think about how a single thread is weak. You can snap it easily, but twist hundreds of threads together and they form a rope that cannot be broken. The same is true with people. One person can be silenced, one group can be ignored, but millions united cannot be stopped. That rope of unity can pull down walls, can move mountains, can lift dreams into reality. Unity is not about being the same. It is about standing together in strength despite differences. That is why it is feared by those who want to dominate, because unity removes control, it removes manipulation, it removes the ability to divide and weaken. Unity is also the foundation of progress. When a nation is united, it does not waste energy on fighting itself. Instead, it directs its energy toward building, toward creating, toward advancing. When unity exists, students are encouraged, workers are respected, leaders are held accountable, and dreams are shared. America never expected that nations once fractured by history would find the strength to stand together, that millions of voices would rise in one chorus, declaring independence, declaring ambition, declaring destiny. Unity transforms weakness into power, chaos into order, and doubt into unshakable belief. But unity requires sacrifice. It requires people to put aside ego, pride, and selfishness. It requires the courage to see the bigger picture, to understand that we are stronger together than apart. And when that sacrifice is made, the reward is immeasurable. A united people can build industries faster, defend their nation stronger, and shape their future brighter. America never expected that unity could become the secret weapon, the shield against oppression, and the sword of progress. The world often fears weapons, but the truth is, the most dangerous force in history is not an army, it is a united people. Because unity cannot be destroyed by bombs, it cannot be defeated by borders, it cannot be silenced by fear. Once people stand together, they become like a wave, a tide too strong to be turned back. That is why every great movement in history, every revolution, every transformation began not with weapons, but with unity. The message is clear: unity is the greatest force. When people stand together, they rise above every obstacle. When a nation unites, it commands respect. When unity spreads, no one, not even America, can stop it. And that is the power they never expected to see, the power of millions moving as one. The future does not wait for the timid. It does not bow to those who hesitate, who play it safe, who fear failure more than they desire success. The future belongs to the bold. It belongs to those who are willing to take risks, to step forward when everyone else steps back, to dream bigger than anyone dares to imagine, and to act on those dreams with relentless determination. This is the message America never expected, that the next era of power, influence, and greatness will not be defined by those who cling to the past, but by those who create the future with boldness. Boldness is not recklessness. Boldness is vision combined with courage. It is seeing what others cannot see and having the strength to pursue it when the world doubts you. Every breakthrough in history was made by someone bold enough to challenge the impossible. The explorers who sailed into uncharted waters, the inventors who turned ideas into machines, the leaders who stood against empires, all of them shared one trait: boldness. They did not wait for perfect conditions, they did not wait for permission, they did not wait for certainty. They acted, and by acting, they reshaped the world. America believed boldness was their unique advantage, that only they had the spirit to push boundaries. But they never expected that boldness would awaken across the world, that nations once underestimated would dare to rise, to innovate, to build, and to lead. Boldness demands sacrifice. It means taking the hard path instead of the easy one. It means risking failure, risking rejection, risking defeat, but it also means claiming victories that the timid will never know. The bold achieve because they are willing to fail. They succeed because they never accept limits. They rise because they refuse to stay down. The timid wait for opportunity, but the bold create it. The timid see obstacles, but the bold see challenges to be conquered. The timid ask for safety, but the bold demand freedom. That is why the future belongs to them, because they are the ones who shape it. The world respects boldness because boldness changes everything. A bold nation invests in science when others hesitate. A bold people speak truth when others remain silent. A bold generation refuses to be defined by the struggles of the past, and instead chooses to build a destiny worthy of the future. America never expected this kind of boldness from others. They thought doubt would hold people back. They thought fear would keep nations in the shadows, but the fire of boldness has been lit, and once it burns, it cannot be extinguished. Understand this: the bold are remembered, the timid are forgotten. The bold build monuments, create movements, and inspire generations. The timid leave no mark because they never dared to make one. Boldness is the difference between living history and writing history. That is why every great nation must teach its people not just to dream, but to dare, not just to think, but to act, not just to follow, but to lead. Because the future is not given, it is taken by those with the courage to claim it. So when the world looks ahead, it will not ask who played it safe. It will not celebrate those who feared failure. It will honor those who dared, those who fought, those who believed in something greater and pursued it with everything they had. That is the message America never expected. That boldness has spread, that nations once quiet are now speaking loudly, that the timid days are gone, the bold have risen, and the future belongs to them. The world has changed. The message America never expected is no longer a whisper. It is a roar. Discipline has built foundations so strong they cannot be shaken. Knowledge has become the weapon that no army can defeat. Resilience has turned centuries of weakness into unbreakable strength. Unity has transformed division into unstoppable power, and boldness has declared to the world that the future will not be inherited. It will be taken by those who dare. This is not just the story of nations. This is the story of people, of every individual who refuses to bow, who chooses to rise, who decides to fight for something greater. The lessons are clear. Stay disciplined when others give up. Seek knowledge when others stay ignorant. Grow resilient when life tries to break you. Stand united when others want you divided. And be bold when fear tries to silence you. That is how individuals rise. That is how nations rise. That is how destinies are rewritten. America never expected this message because they never believed others could rise so high, so strong, and so fast. But the truth is unstoppable. The world has awakened, and a new chapter has begun. The future does not belong to the comfortable, it does not belong to the doubters, and it does not belong to those who cling to the past. The future belongs to those who are disciplined, knowledgeable, resilient, united, and bold enough to claim it. And that future, my friends, is already here.